All right. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the stream. Woo! Gosh, it has been a long time. It's been a very, very long time. I don't know if I'm ready for this, but we're going to try it. Why not, right? Why not try it? That's something we can do. Let's fucking do it. Thank you, Miranda. Thank you so much for the follow. Really, and the subscription as well. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Your support means the world to me. Just waiting for the ad break to end and then we'll start it up. Okay, hello everyone. Let's get ready to rumble. Okay? We're going to watch this video. We're going to see if this is any good. I'm not sure if it's going to be any good, but we'll see.
Hello everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back to Briana Ivy's channel. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'm just going to keep it real. I'm going to keep it so real. This is not going to be fun. This is not going to be a fun video.
I disagree. I think this is going to be a really fun video. I think this is going to be an exceptionally fun video. I think we're going to have a lot of fun diving into this.
It's going to be a very harsh video. This is going to be a very intense one because there is a major problem going on. There is a major problem going on, and I've had it up to here, beyond where I can even reach. It's time that we take a firmer stance against what is happening right now.
We need to take a firm stance against something, I think. I don't know what that is.
And what I'm referring to is within the trans community, trans activism, within liberalism, within progressivism, within the LGBTQ community.
We as trans people need to take a firm stance against trans activism. We have too many rights. We have far too many rights. We need to cut down on the amount of rights that we have. That's what I think. That's what she thinks. I agree with her. I think this is great. Let's keep going.
It is disrespectful to what I go through, what other people with gender dysphoria go through, and it's disrespectful to women. And I have a lot to say on it.
I like when videos start with a full minute of warning us against something without telling us what we ought to be afraid of. Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm trying to do with the stream. That's what I'm doing with the stream. I'm warning you about trans activism. It's gone too far. We've gone far too far with this. We need to take it back a notch.
So let's get started. Let's not even waste time. Today we'll be talking about autogynephilia. To get started, we first need to understand what is autogynephilia. The definition of autogynephilia is a male's propensity to be sexually aroused by the thought of himself as a female. It is a paraphilia that is theorized to underlie transvestism and some forms of male-to-female transsexuals. This word was originated back in the 80s by a man named Ray Blanchard. Now, let's go a little bit deeper into the forms of male-to-female transsexuals that he has referred to in this theory. We have two. Let's begin with the first one. The first one is considered homosexual transsexual, trans women attracted to men, or male-attracted trans women. The characteristic.
Is there a test that I can take to tell me if I'm EGP or HSTS? Is there another acronym that I might fall into? Can I be an ASS trans woman? Can I do that?
Characteristics of this group, this is where I fall. They are categorized as feminine young boys. They transition earlier in life, and they are also motivated to transition due to societal perception that they would be more accepted as heterosexual trans women versus homosexual gay men.
See, none of these, I wasn't motivated for any of these reasons. I was motivated for the reason that I felt more comfortable as a woman and I wanted to live as a woman. Not because of anything that society would perceive me as. I mean, to be fair, they already perceived me as a woman before any of this. Before I even considered transition, most of society already thought of me as a woman. I mean, like, I would work a customer service job and I would talk to people over the phone and they would just mistake me for a woman all the time. I was getting misgendered as a man, and that's why I transitioned. There's a GAMP, I think, but I forget what it is. I think I've seen GAMP as well. There's also the Gap, which is usually at the mall. Oh my God. So true. So true, Miranda.
We have the next one, the autogynephilic transsexual. These are trans women attracted to women. The characteristics of this group,
Okay, I was not a traditionally masculine young boy. I was very much a fruity boy. I was so weak.
Autogynephilic transsexual. Typically, traditionally masculine young boys. They adhere to the expectations of masculinity and as they develop throughout their boyhood. They transition later in life and they tend to identify as lesbian.
Okay, I got 2 out of 3. That's not bad, right? 2 out of 3 isn't bad.
Oh, honey, don't we all know about those? Don't we all know about the trans lesbians?
Yeah, don't we all know about the trans lesbians? You know what's worse than trans lesbians? Trans fucking puppy girls. I swear to God, I cannot deal with them anymore. There's too many. There's too many puppy girls. We need like a pound to put them all in.
Autogynephilia was coined because transvestism had many classifications, including gay drag queens, and also because autogynephiles are aroused by the idea of inhabiting a female body and not just feminine clothes. This is very important. Autogynephilia is a paraphilia, and a paraphilia is an unusual, intense, and persistent erotic interest. Why the hell are
Wait, what about trans women that have no sex drive? Where's the acronym for people like me? Where's the acronym for people who started estrogen and it ruined their entire sex drive? Where's that? Like, both of my girlfriends today were complaining that I don't have sex with them nearly as much as they want. And it's a struggle sometimes. Like, how do I make people whose biggest love language is sex, how do I make them feel loved when I don't feel like having sex? I mean, I can do all these other acts of service. That's my love language. But it's not like I can just, I don't know, get in the mood at any point. It's not, it feels weird. I don't know.
we talking about a fetish? I ask myself that same question. I ask myself that question a lot. And where I believe the origin of this fetish dominating the gender dysphoria and transgender conversation, I believe it has come from queer theory.
Queer theory. Is that the new like food theory, game theory channel, Queer Theory? After all, it's just a theory. A queer theory.
A little background on queer theory. So queer theory arrived in the 1990s via gender studies, that the perspective that questions the perception that cisgender and heterosexual identities are in any sense standard, to break down the idea that cisgender and heterosexual people and identities are the standard, are normal. Specifically in relation to transgender people and gender dysphoria, is to break down the idea that cisgender is a normal state to be in, that it is the normal state of being for human beings. Already, we see that there's not a lot of logic going on here. We all know that that's not true. Like, at what point do we just need to be so damn serious? At what point do we just need to be serious? What about that? What about being trans is normal?
I've had a pretty normal experience being trans. I don't know what normal is expected to be. though, to be honest with you. I mean, like, the experience for most trans people is different for every person. I mean, depending on where you live, right? Like, somebody that lives in Russia is not going to have the same experience as somebody who lives in, like, California, for example. So how can you set a standard for normal when the experience across the board is so widely varied?
I can tell you right now because I live it. I'm going on year 10. I'm going on year 10. I'm going on year 10 of being trans. What about this is normal? Nothing. Zero. None of it. None of this. None of this is normal. But
You've been transitioning for 10 years and you haven't done any voice training? I'm so sorry, honey.
that doesn't mean it's bad. That does not mean it's bad. That just means that it's not normal. Queer theory has absolutely destroyed the credibility of transgender people because it's evident that we are abnormal and people know that. We have eyes. People that are not trans have eyes and brains, and they know that this is not normal.
Okay, well, I mean, the people that I interact with on a daily basis have eyes and ears, and they do not know that I am trans. They cannot tell. So I don't know what she's going on about. I really don't. It doesn't matter.
But the pursuit of trying to make it so normal, hence why you see trans women are women, trans men are men, is destroying our credibility. These people look at us and they're like, what are you talking about? I don't even know what we're talking about anymore. Just making that clear. The more insidious part of this is that the deconstruction of cisgender being the norm or being the normal state of a human being to be in has also deconstructed the perceived norms and traits within true transsexual gender dysphoric people, aka the birth of everyone and anyone can be trans.
So she's talking about this idea that all you have to do to be trans is just say you're trans, is destroying the rights of quote unquote true transsexual people who are quote unquote truly dysphoric. And like I mean, I can kind of get where like she's coming from, I guess. But I don't really agree entirely. I think she forgot what her topic was.
Because activism has militarized queer theory, it has also made way for organizations like WPATH, the world organization that sets the standards of care for transgender people and transgender medical services, such as hormone replacement, blockers, surgeries, other things. Because
So as I understand it, the WPATH standards, they went from being extremely stringent and very difficult to meet WPATH standards. They used to be, a number of years ago, it was, you know, you had to perform your role, your gender role in public for so many years before you would be able to get access to hormone replacement therapy and stuff like that. And then they kind of became a little bit more progressive and kind of did away with the whole presenting as your gender thing. And then they've made a slight correction now, a little bit more toward the transsexual or whatever side. So as I understand it, current WPATH standards are pretty good. Let's see if I can find it. Let's see, standards of care. Version 8. This is the new one, right? Oh, is it going to download me a PDF? Oh, please no. All right, fine. That's a lot of names. Okay. Transgender healthcare is rapidly evolving interdisciplinary field. In the last decade, there have been an unprecedented increase in the number and visibility of transgender and gender diverse people seeking support and gender-affirming medical treatment in parallel with a significant rise in the scientific literature in the area. Let me see if I can zoom that a little bit. Yeah, they just updated it a year or two ago. Yeah, I thought I remembered that. The World Professional Association for Transgender Health, or WPATH, is an international multidisciplinary professional association whose mission is to promote evidence-based care, education, research, public policy, and respect in transgender health. One of the main functions of WPATH is to promote the highest standards of healthcare for TGD people through the standards of care. The SOC was initially developed in 1979, and the last version, SOC 7, was published in 2012. In view of the increasing scientific evidence, WPATH commissioned a new version of the standards of care, the SOC 8. A total of 18 chapters were developed as part of the SOC 8. They contain recommendations for healthcare professionals who provide care and treatment for TGD people. Each of the recommendations is followed by explanatory text with relevant references. General areas related to transgender health are covered in the chapter's terminology, global applicability, population estimates, and education. The chapters developed for the diverse population of TGD people include assessment of adults, adolescents, children, non-binary eunuchs, and intersex individuals, and people living in institutional environments. Finally, the chapters related to gender-affirming treatment are hormone therapy, surgery and post-operative care, voice and communication, primary care, reproductive health, sexual health, and mental health. The SOC 8 guidelines are intended to be flexible to meet the diverse healthcare needs of TGD people globally. While adaptable, they offer standards for promoting optimal healthcare and guidance for the treatment of people experiencing gender incongruence. As in all previous versions of the SOC, the criteria set forth in this document for gender-affirming medical interventions are clinical guidelines. Individual healthcare professionals and programs may modify these in consultation with the TGD person. We brought back eunuchs? Yeah, I guess we did. I guess we brought back eunuchs. Okay. So I think chapter 5 is what we're looking for. Let me go page, what is that? 31? Here we go. This chapter provides guidance for the assessment of transgender and gender diverse adults who are requesting medically necessary gender-affirming medical and/or surgical treatments to better align their body with their gender identity. TGD adults are people at or above the age of majority in their country who have some form of gender diversity. The developmental elements of the adolescent chapter, including the importance of parental and caregiver involvement, may be relevant for the care of young adults too, even if they are above the age of a majority. This chapter includes all forms of gender identities and transitions, including but not limited to male, female, gender diverse, non-binary, agender, and eunuch. I guess we did bring eunuch back. I guess that is a thing now. The population of TGD adults is heterogeneous and will vary according to their clinical need, biological, psychological, and social situations, as well as their access to healthcare. As such, any assessment for GAMSTs will need to be adapted to the scientific, clinical, and community knowledge base of the presenting gender identity, as well as local circumstances. This chapter recognizes individuals may experience different local levels of clinical or regulatory oversight when the state or others are providing healthcare. Wow, this is pretty good, actually. Okay, statements of recommendations. We recommend healthcare professionals assessing transgender and gender diverse adults for physical treatments are licensed by their statutory body and hold at a minimum a master's degree or equivalent training in a clinical field relevant to this role and granted by a nationally accredited statutory institution. For countries requiring a diagnosis for access to care, the healthcare professional should be competent using the latest edition of the World Health Organization's International Classification of Diseases for diagnosis. In countries that have not implemented the latest ICD, other taxonomies may be used. Efforts should be undertaken to utilize the latest ICD as soon as practicable. are able to identify coexisting mental health or other psychosocial concerns and distinguish these from gender dysphoria, incongruence, and diversity. So they're talking about like figuring out if your patient who says that they're transgender is saying that they're transgender because of a different mental or physical affliction rather than gender dysphoria or incongruence, as they put it here. Are able to assess capacity to consent for treatment, have experience, or be qualified to assess clinical aspects of gender dysphoria, incongruence, and diversity, undergo continuing education in healthcare relating to gender dysphoria, incongruence, and diversity. We suggest healthcare professionals assessing transgender and gender diverse adults seeking gender affirming treatment liaise with professionals from different disciplines within the field of transgender health for consultation and referral if required. The following recommendations are made regarding the requirements for gender-affirming medical and surgical treatment. All should be met. We recommend healthcare professionals assessing transgender and gender-diverse adults for gender-affirming medical and surgical treatment. A. Only recommend gender-affirming medical treatment requested by a TGD person when the experience of gender incongruence is marked and sustained. B. Ensure fulfillment of diagnostic criteria prior to initiating gender-affirming treatments in regions where diagnosis is necessary to access healthcare. C. Identify and exclude other possible causes of apparent gender incongruence prior to the initiation of gender-affirming treatments. D. Ensure that any mental health conditions that could negatively impact the outcome of gender-affirming medical treatments are assessed with risks and benefits discussed before a decision is made regarding treatment. E. Ensure any physical health conditions that could negatively impact the outcome of gender-affirming medical treatments are assessed with risks and benefits discussed before a decision is made regarding treatment. F. Assess the capacity to consent for the specific physical treatment prior to the initiation of this treatment. I'm doing that tomorrow. I'm going to have a consultation to have an orchiectomy tomorrow, and I'm very excited about that. Assess the capacity, G. Assess the capacity of the gender diverse and transgender adult to understand the effect of gender affirming treatment on reproduction and explore reproductive options with the individual prior to the initiation of gender affirming treatment. 5.4. We suggest, as part of the assessment for gender-affirming hormonal or surgical treatment, professionals who have competencies in the assessment of transgender and gender-diverse people wishing gender-related medical treatment consider the role of social transition together with the individual. So it seems like considering the social transition is already part of the WPATH standards. I mean, we can read it right here. This is the current WPATH standards. And it says right here that consideration for social transition should be hand in hand with medical treatment for transition. 5.5. We recommend transgender and gender diverse adults who fulfill the criteria for gender affirming medical and surgical treatment require a single opinion for the initiation of this treatment from a professional who has competencies in the assessment of transgender and gender diverse people wishing gender-related medical and surgical treatment. So this is what I was talking about when I said that they relaxed the standards of this, because it used to be you needed multiple recommendations from doctors, that you had to see not just one doctor who would stamp you and say, okay, you're trans. (5.6) We suggest healthcare professionals assessing transgender and gender diverse people seeking gonadectomy consider a minimum of 6 months of hormone therapy as appropriate to the TGD person's gender goals before the TGD person undergoes irreversible surgical intervention, unless hormones are not clinically indicated for the individual. Again, this is like striking a good middle ground here between like the super strict, like transsexual people who say that you need to do A, B, and C before you start transition, and the gender liberal people, as I like to call them, who say all you have to do to be trans is say you're trans. I think this strikes a very happy medium. Both crowds of people should be pleased by this. I don't know what the big deal is. And finally, 5.7, We recommend healthcare professionals assessing adults who wish to detransition and seek gender-related hormone intervention, surgical intervention, or both. Utilize a comprehensive, multidisciplinary assessment that will include additional viewpoints from experienced healthcare professional in transgender health, and that considers, together with the individual, the role of social transition as part of the assessment process. These are good standards. I 100% agree with these standards. I used to be like very hardline anti-WPATH standards until they made their recent relaxations. I think this is a very good middle ground. I think, again, both crowds of people should be highly pleased by this. I see no reason why anyone should have any problem with the current WPATH standards. This is very fair. So let's go back to the video and see what she has to say about it.
Of this queer theory motivated activism, other institutions now have broken down the barriers of transitioning, of transgender services. These activists have pushed so hard to say this is normal, we are normal, anyone can be trans, everyone is trans, transgender is normal, cisgender is weird.
But we just read on the current WPATH standards that doctors are advised to consider other mental health needs when somebody comes to them and says, hey, I think I might be trans. The WPATH standards say that doctors need to be aware of that and need to be on the lookout for that and suggest other intervention if they think that that would be appropriate. So it's clear to me that Briana just has not read the current WPATH standards, does not know what's recommended to doctors, probably because she's 10 years into transition. At that point, when you're that far along in transition, your appointments with doctors become few and far between. You go like twice a year to check your estrogen levels. For new transitioners, that's completely different. You should be going once every 3 months to check your levels to make sure they're in range. And what I would recommend for the first year, go every month. Because what you have to do is adjust your dose according to your body's needs. And you don't know what your body's needs are if you're not getting your levels checked regularly.
So now everybody had to be like, oh, my bad. Okay, y'all can come in, get your hormones. Like they're going to start driving trucks around like ice cream, handing out estrogen and testosterone gel. But
that's just not true. That's just not true. Like I said, like we just read on the standards, there's no way that this is going to lead to some like group of doctors that are just handing out hormones like it's Halloween candy. The standards are stringent for that. They talk about, needing 6 months of social transition. They talk about needing to check for other mental health concerns and stuff like that. There is absolutely no reason that if she knew what the current WPATH standards were, that she would say something like this. Hey! Thanks, Reznov, for the 5 or the 9 months. Wow. Congratulations. You're almost at 10 months. I'm so happy. Thank you. Really appreciate that. She's arguing with an imagined viewpoint, Miranda says. Her fixation of trans activists allegedly dubbing cissexualism to be abnormal, that's just made up. Nobody cares or disputes that most people are cis. Yeah, I 100% agree with you. Most people, even most trans people, understand that most people are going to be cis. That trans people are a very small minority in the large group of cis people that there are. I have not seen, in all my time, in all the trans circles I've been part of, nobody disagrees with that. Even like the gender anarchists and stuff like that, they 100% know that they are a minority and that most people are cis. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. She is arguing with an imagined viewpoint.
who is that also allowed into those services to transition? Autogynephiles. Autogynephiles have been welcomed into transition. And as we all know,
So she's saying autogynephiles have been welcomed into transition and they shouldn't be, is what her argument is. Because I guess she's positing that AGP is just a mental disorder that should be dismissed as not part of the trans community. But didn't she say at the beginning of the video that AGP was part of Blanchard's typology? And Blanchard posits that there are two types of trans people, AGP and HSTS. Therefore, that would mean that AGPs are inherently trans. Reznov. AGPs stink. I sure do hate them. Hee hee. That's so funny. That's really funny. She's conflating AGP with queer and gender theory. Like, those are two ideological camps that don't associate much with each other. Yeah, you're right. You're 100% correct. Oh, this video is such a mess.
Stated about the paraphilic state of that fetish, it is pervasive. It is a pervasive fetish, and allowing these people to transition enables it. 1,000% it enables it. When queer theory and activism has allowed these people and welcomed them in with open arms and a fucking red carpet, okay? A whole ceremony. What you have is people being allowed to engage in fetish behavior through morphing their body to achieve the fetishized state that they desire.
So she's saying that AGP is just a fetish. That people who are AGP are just doing it to get their rocks off or something. I mean, I know plenty of trans people who started hormones and lost their sex drive completely. Like I alluded to this earlier, I'm one of those people. She's so much cooler than us deranged perverts, and why is she stuck on Twitter with the rest of us? I refuted her with her own source, and then she deleted her reply and tried to sweep it under the rug. Well, that's because you're cool, Reznov. That's why.
Now that they've satisfied that, they need to satisfy something else within that fetish that is even stronger. And transgender activism, modeled by queer theory, has now welcomed autogynephilia into all transgender conversations and spaces. These spaces advocate for all these trans people to access the spaces of the sex they desire. Autogynephilia being welcomed into trans spaces.
I want to read what this says for a second. So this is apparently a Time article. Why LGP advocates say bathroom predators argument is a red herring. It's become a common refrain in recent months, allowing transgender people to use the restroom that aligns with their gender identity and will end up letting male sexual predators into women's bathrooms. From North Carolina to South Dakota, supporters of controversial bills seeking to limit transgender people's use of public restrooms have repeatedly made that argument. There's little hard evidence to back up this assertion, but LGBT advocates and other opponents of the bills have had to develop a number of counter-arguments to refute it. The A in LGBTQIA is for autogynephiles. Yeah? I want to see if I can find this article. What does it say? Bathroom predators argument is a red herring. Oh, hi, Cactus. Thanks for the follow. Okay, here's the article that she was reading. Here's a breakdown of their arguments. Let's see. Several states and major cities have supported transgender people's bathroom access for years. There are more than a dozen states and several cities that have non-discrimination laws that protect gender identity in public accommodations, which is a legalistic way of saying that transgender people can use whatever bathrooms they want in public. This is the kind of affirmation that started the whole controversy in North Carolina. Charlotte passed such protections earlier this year. State lawmakers said there would be terrible effects and passed a countermeasure, HB 2, that eliminated Charlotte's protections and banned other cities from passing anything similar. Fears about male predators have not been borne out in those places. New York City has banned discrimination based on gender identity for more than a decade. California has affirmed the rights of K-12 students to use the bathrooms and locker rooms that align with their gender identity for years. Advocates say that while there are some past examples of heterosexual men dressing up like women to gain access to women's spaces, there's no record of that behavior increasing when there's an LGBT non-discrimination law on the books. We have so many places that do prohibit discrimination where this has never come up, says the Equality Federation's Rebecca Isaacs. This is a red herring. Police and school officials say they haven't seen it either. Media Matters, a liberal media watchdog, has asked state leaders, law enforcement, and school officials in places with these protections whether they've seen any increase in sexual assault or rape after passing these laws, and they have repeatedly said that they have not. We have not seen that, a Des Moines police department spokesman, told the outlet in 2014. I doubt that's going to encourage the behavior. If the behavior's there, sexual predators are going to behave as they're going to behave, no matter what the laws are. That's so true! That's so fucking true! North Carolina's bathroom bill, that's nostalgic. I miss when it was just one state with a bathroom bill. Yeah, right? The nation's leading organizations dedicated to stopping violence against women signed a letter saying that this argument is a myth. These initiatives utilize and perpetuate the myth that protecting transgender people's access to restrooms and locker rooms endangers the safety or privacy of others, the letter states. As rape crisis centers, shelters, and other service providers who work each and every day to meet the needs of all survivors and reduce sexual assault and domestic violence throughout society, we speak from experience and expertise when we state that these claims are false. So pretty much everyone who knows anything is saying that all these claims about bathroom predators are just false, that it just doesn't exist. And here she is using it as a talking point to demonize AGPs. Okay, well, that's fine. LGBT rights advocates emphasize that the signatories are not only the experts on what endangers women, but that groups like the National Center on Domestic and Sexual Violence would be the first out of the gate to oppose any law that did seem to endanger women. All those arguments, to me, crash and burn, says the Equality Federation's Isaacs, because this is everybody working on male predators. Sexual assault remains a crime no matter why someone claims they entered a woman's space. The predator argument is based on an assumption that men who prey on women will be inspired to dress as women and enter women's spaces because they could falsely claim to be transgender and therefore allowed to stay. But advocates emphasize if a female alleges she was sexually assaulted, the gender identity of the perpetrator has no bearing on the criminality of the act. If you are a man who dresses as a woman and goes into a bathroom and commits a crime, says the Human Rights Campaign attorney Catherine Oakley, whether you have a non-discrimination protection on the basis of gender identity or not, that behavior is illegal and criminal, and you could be arrested and go to jail. If male predators were waiting for alleged loopholes like this to pop up, they could be using the women's bathrooms already. The North Carolina law mandates that people must use bathrooms based on their biological sex, defined as the sex on their birth certificate. Transgender men, who are likely to have a birth certificate with an F on it, are often indistinguishable from cisgender men, notes the Center for American Progress's Sarah McBride. So a male predator could skip the trouble of dressing up and go into the women's room in North Carolina today, pretending to be a transgender man. We know that's not going to happen, she says, but the notion that the lack of a law protecting transgender people is all that's stopping male predators from acting is preposterous. Some of the arguments about bathrooms are just a cloak for prejudice. McBride, who is a transgender woman, recently went down to North Carolina and took a selfie in the women's restroom that went viral. She says among her many critics, about half believed she was really a man and opposed her presence in the women's room, telling her to kill herself, as well as threatening to gang rape or murder her. The other half were people that said, "I'm sure you're a good person, but you need to know this isn't about you. This is about people who would pretend to be transgender," she says. For many people in the former camp, advocates say emphasizing concern for women's safety is simply a cloak for a less palatable position, one some people have openly expressed. "I don't want men who think they are women in my bathrooms and locker rooms," a Marylander testified in a debate over this issue. "I don't want to be part of their make-believe delusion. Males are always males. They cannot change. I'm here to stand up for women, children, and their safety." I mean, she passes. What? I don't know what the fucking problem is. Similar predator arguments have been used and debunked in the past. We are not the first people who have been called predators for political gain, says Merritt Kiesling, executive director for the National Center of Transgender Equality and a transgender woman. Look most recently at Donald Trump saying Mexican immigrants were rapists. There's a long, really horrifying history of demagogues and fundraisers saying, hey, those people over there, we have to hate them because we have to keep our women and children safe. Advocates have circulated old propaganda videos saying the homosexual lurks in the bathroom waiting to prey on young boys. Arguments about bathrooms were used to justify segregation and helped doom the Equal Rights Amendment. These arguments have been effective, advocates argue, because people tend to feel vulnerable in the bathroom, and women and children do have legitimate reason to fear assault in general. And they're particularly effective against transgender people, they say, because for decades, media portrayed transgender people as deceivers or deviants. Think of Silence of the Lambs or Ace Ventura Pet Detective. I did not expect an Ace Ventura Pet Detective reference in this fucking video. I did not expect that. But here we are. And many people don't have a personal relationship with someone who is transgender. Oh, but hang on. What I never understood about the bathroom thing is, if you have a vulva and you're in the men's room, you're going to be in a stall because you can't use a urinal without a dick. And if you have a penis and you're in a women's room, you're going to be in a stall because all there are in women's rooms are stalls. We're arguing about people in stalls. Why is this such an effective way of sharing cis people? I'm 100% behind you. Okay? I agree with you 100%. Like, either way, you're going to be in a stall. So, thank you. Thank you, Spellcraft, for the follow. I really appreciate that. I don't know why my thing's not going off. I guess it's only going off for subs. I'll check into that later. Okay. And many people don't have a personal relationship with someone who is transgender. A report from the Public Religion Research Institute found that while 65% of Americans say they have a close friend or family member who is gay, just 9% say the same thing about having a personal relationship with someone who is transgender. Studies show transgender people are more likely to be victims. What is really unacceptable, says HRC's Oakley, is we're pinning these fears on people who are, in fact, themselves incredibly vulnerable in bathrooms. In a study from UCLA's Williams Institute, nearly 70% of transgender people say that they had experienced verbal harassment in a situation involving gender-segregated bathrooms, while nearly 10% reported physical assault. And advocates argue laws that force transgender people to use restrooms where they can look out of place makes them more likely targets. While opponents have circulated photos that suggest transgender people are unmistakable, many transgender people can go about their day without anyone being aware of their gender status. When you are aware that trans people exist, but you don't understand trans people, that does create this opportunity for fear-mongering to slip in, says Oakley. You've probably been using bathrooms next to trans people for a long time. And that's the article. And I don't know how she thinks that this article supports her argument at all. I don't get it. Maybe I'll get it here in a minute as she continues arguing, but I really, really don't think so. Oh, it's muted now. Sorry.
Access the desired space of the sex that they want, because if everybody's trans and everybody's a real woman, everybody's a real man, then everybody should be allowed to use those spaces. Therefore, who is walking right in with open arms? Autogynephiles. This is absolutely dangerous. This is beyond.
Isn't she just doing the thing the article said that other people were doing? Where they're saying, oh, we have to be afraid of these predators. We have to be on the lookout for these people who want to hurt our women and children. And she's just, instead of saying all trans people, she's just saying AGPs, right? AGPs are the dangerous monsters that want to prey on our women and children, and we need to protect them, and that's why we need to hate them.
Dangerous. This is critical. And I want to make it clear that if you look at it on paper, you can see that it doesn't sound that bad. I can understand where some people are like, it's just a fetish. Like, everybody has fetishes and kinks. No, this is where we need to get it clear. Have allowed queer theory to model the framework of transgender activism, you hurt real trans people. Because
here she goes again with real trans people. What are real trans people? Doesn't she realize that she would be classified as an AGP according to Blanchard's typology anyway? Most people are.
Because you have allowed people with a fetish that also want to achieve transition for sexual motivation into this space, and therefore the things that we ask for, they're also right behind us, benefiting from it and using it in nasty, vile, insidious ways, disgusting ways.
So you transition for a fetish, and then turns out all the hormones kill your sex drive, and then you can't have sex anymore. Brilliant. I love this. It's so smart. It's big brain. It's galaxy brain take right here. She's a coping meta attractive AGP. Yeah, no kidding. If you're a real trans, you're from Trans Jordan. It's like how it's not really champagne if it's not from France. Oh, I see. Okay. Gotcha. Well, I'm not from Trans Jordan, so I guess I'm not trans. I guess that makes me cis, right?
As defended by queer theory to promote them to transition, because the idea that anybody can be trans, so now these people have to stand 10 toes down behind it. They have to stand behind that politics. They do. That's why, and we'll get into it, when autogynephiles do nasty, vile things, these activists are mute. These activists are mute.
What AGPs are going around doing nasty, disgusting things? Is she talking about WeSpa? Are we doing WeSpa 3.0 right now? Holy shit. I sure hope we're not doing WeSpa 3.0 at this point, especially coming from another trans person. That would be the truly disgusting part.
They do not care because they cannot sacrifice their ideology that they worship. Talk about it in conversation, the trans cult, the LGBT mafia, the alphabet mafia. It absolutely is religious in nature.
What? Who is our religious figure that we pray to? Can I have LGBT rosary beads? Can I have prayer beads that are just rainbow? At the end of the night, when I'm going to bed, I kneel down at the foot of my bed and I pray to AGP Jesus. Apparently, I guess.
It is cult-like behavior because what they worship is the ideology.
I don't think it's a good idea to talk about beads right now. Miranda, no. No.
Of queer theory, and it has become a theology to them. And therefore, they cannot condemn an autogynephile. Autogynephiles follow the exact path laid out for them by queer theory and by these activists. They can't say anything because these autogynephiles hopped right on the bus and took the right route.
I hopped on the battle bus and took the route to the Fortnite battle pass. That's what I did. I hopped on the LGBTQIA plus battle bus. I dropped onto Rainbow Road and I started shooting Mario with the AK-47. That's what I started doing.
They followed all of your principles. Everything you advocated for included them. When you see how this pops up in our society, they are silent because they worship. It is religious to them. It is worship of queer theory and this activism. It is their being. They believe this so deeply to their core that they will allow disgusting, vile behavior to happen in the public. We have to take it. Genuine people that...
Can I have a citation, please? Citation needed, please. What is this disgusting behavior that AGPs are doing that people are just putting up with? Can I have any examples of this behavior? Clam2357, thanks for the follow. Appreciate the support.
That struggle with gender dysphoria have to take it. And I have to sit here and allow these people to make everyone in America and across the world think that we're predators, think that we're nasty, think that we want to terrorize women, think that we want to trick men, think that we want to do disgusting, vile things. They think that me looking the way I do is because I have a fetish. And they look at me like, oh, well, she's about to turn into a predator any day now.
You're the only one that thinks that, honey. You're literally the only trans person that thinks that about yourself. I don't know why you project that onto other people. Maybe it's because she's just like really highly insecure with her own presentation and her own body. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe she projects all her insecurities onto the other people and says, all these people are thinking of me this way, when it's really just you. Miranda says, I don't know, man. The last group of biological males dressed as women who said, we're not going to take it was Twisted Sister. Reznov says, why are HSTSs consistently the trans equivalent of capos? If anything, they're the ones who should be excluded from the community. Is she an HSTS? Is that what she's positing here? Is that she's one of the good ones? And AGPs are just disgusting males? She's literally doing a 4chan meme right now.
Meanwhile, people that live with what I live with, we struggle. We struggle every damn day. We do. To sit here every single day and I look at myself and I know that I am a biological man, yet I want to look nothing like that is painful.
It should be considered a form of self-harm for a trans woman to say, I know that I am a biological man. That's what this should be. It should be considered a form of self-harm. And really, if she were still seeing her doctor regularly, he would be like, oh, you should probably go get some mental help.
Mentally.
Mentally. I didn't even know that was the next word. That's so funny.
Because you live with it every single day. It goes with you when you're outside, when you go to school, when you go to work, when you go to the grocery store, when you go to the mall, when you go to the bar. It doesn't matter. You will always have that in your brain. And for these activists to allow people motivated by a sexual paraphilic fetish into this and co-opt and hijack what we have been trying to fight for decades, for people to just think of us, not forget our humanity. We're not even fighting for people to think we're normal. We're fighting for respect.
Okay. But it seems like you get that from cis society. It seems like you get respect from cis society because if you're such a real trans person, why'd she switch to speaking with that sissy hypno cadence? Oh my God. Oh my God. So true. It seems like she really does get respect from most of cis society. And she's saying all these other perverts are the ones that are messing up my rights. But I mean, like the idea of setting a standard for care, especially transgender care, is that you have to understand whatever governing body is setting that standard understands that whatever standard they set is not going to meet everyone's needs perfectly, right? And so their goal is to meet the needs of as many trans people as they can without causing as much harm as they can prevent, while also understanding and knowing inherently that there are people that are going to be left behind by whatever standards you set. There are always going to be people that are excluded from those standards. And it seems like she's saying here, oh, I've been transitioning for 10 years. I've already been a part of this. And now since the pandemic, all these other trans people are coming out and being themselves and stuff, and it's ruining my rights. They're not real trans people because they haven't been transitioning as long as me. Well, you also have to understand if you started transition 10 years ago, that the standards for transition 10 years ago were way, way, way more strict. There were doctors that were saying, oh, you're just a pervert. Here, go get this mental help. Instead of, oh, well, where can we add to some understanding here? How can we dive into like gender incongruence and gender dysphoria and stuff like that? And the WPATH standards today reflect that.
We're fighting for people to just hold on to their humanity when they look at us. But let's get into exactly how this manifests in real life. The first example I want to talk about is probably the most infamous one, honestly. I mean, this person, Leah Thomas.
Okay. Let's talk about Leah Thomas for a minute. I've done some videos on Leah Thomas. I personally cannot ever see myself participating in any sport whatsoever besides competitive Pokemon battling. And I do not have any advantage over any cis woman when I raise my Pokemon, when I train them. In fact, if anything gives me an advantage there, it's me being autistic as fuck for Pokemon training and breeding and getting everything right. That's what gives me the advantage. There are trans women that are built different. There are trans women that are not born into twink bodies. Do you know what I mean? There are women that will have genetic advantage over other women. And that goes for cis women too. That goes for cis women too. If we take a look at the Olympics, right, and the participants in the Olympics, the people who win are more often than not born with some biological advantage over their competitors. And that's not even considering whether you're cis or trans. Oh, that's okay, Reznov. I'm going to be uploading this to YouTube later if you want to finish it. But I hope you have a good night and enjoy working on your school project. But yeah, like I said, that goes for everyone. It doesn't matter if you're cis or trans. There are people who are going to be born with a biological advantage over other people. There are people that are born, quote unquote, to play basketball. Yeah, exactly. Miranda just typed it. We got to ban Shaq from the NBA. He has a biological disadvantage against short people. Well, I guess it would be a biological advantage. But yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. Is that tall people are born with that advantage over shorter people when they play basketball because your arms are going to be longer. You can easily get to the hoop or the ring or whatever they call it. I don't even know. I don't watch basketball. There are people that are going to be built with the metabolism to weigh 250, 300, 350 pounds that are going to be naturally better at football in different roles, of course. I mean, like, I'm so sorry if I get this wrong, but like your running back, you want to be someone who is fast and agile. And your front line, the people who are supposed to defend them, are supposed to be bulky and strong and take on whatever offense the other team is trying to throw at you, right? Is that not just how the game works? Is that not how the game is played? Teams pick people for their biological advantage so that their team will have a better chance of winning. And again, it doesn't matter if you are cis or trans. All that matters is that you can prove yourself. All you need to know is there's nothing in the rule book that says a golden retriever can't play basketball. I want my Air Bud movie. I want my reverse Air Bud movie. That's what I want. I want to see Rob Schneider pretend to be a dog for 2.5 hours. That's what I want. Okay? Give me my reverse Air Bud movie with Rob Schneider and I will be happy. I can die a happy girl. But I need to see him pretend to be a dog for 2.5 hours first.
Leah Thomas was the swimmer that joined the women's team with barely any transition, literally just started hormones.
How many months was Leah Thomas on hormones before she joined a women's team? Oh, whoa. Whoa, look at this. Hang on. What does this say? Oh, no. Okay. I think I saw it earlier. I just want to jump to the section that's relevant. Before the start of Thomas's senior season, the NCAA required transgender women to undergo 12 months of hormone therapy to become eligible for competition in the women's category. When Thomas began her season in November 2021, she'd undergone 30 months of hormone therapy. That's over 2 years. That's 2.5 years of hormones. And this girl's just like, oh, she had barely begun hormone treatment before she started swimming against other women. This is just people who, look at this. She'd undergone 30 months of hormone therapy. 30 months of hormone therapy. And this woman has the audacity to go on YouTube and make a video and say Leah Thomas had barely started transitioning when she started swimming against other cis women. That's just patently false. 2.5 years is about how much I've gone under so far. But still, it's a significant amount of time. And if her levels are in range, that means that her testosterone has been so low for 2.5 years. It's the same way with that fighter. What was the fighter's name? I can't remember. She was an MMA fighter, wasn't she? I can't remember her name. I talked about her a lot. She was one of the first subjects of one of my first videos, but I still can't remember her name. That's because I'm so bad with names.
And has exhibited very clear autogynephilic behavior while also being absolutely disrespectful to women.
Can I see some examples of this very clear autogynephilic behavior exhibited by Leah Thomas? Can you show me some examples? Can you support any argument that you have right now? I don't think you can. And so I'm just going to disregard your point and not pay attention to it. This is silly. This whole video is silly so far. We're only like a third of the way in, and it's gotten so silly.
In the process. I am going to show you, and I credit Jake Crane. He posted a thread of all of these.
This is a thread we never expected to write. We sat down with NCAA women's swimmer Riley Gaines, and she shared some info about Leah Thomas. So we did some digging, and now we have a lot of questions. Is this what the NCAA thinks a woman is? Warning, what we found is jarring. AGP is when one is sexually attracted to oneself, swimming as a woman. That's so funny.
Details and images that Leah has liked on Instagram. I'm going to link it below. It's wonderful. Thank you so much, Jake, for putting it.
Okay, if you linked it below, let's take a look. Let's take a look at this thread. Leah Thomas appears to have 2 Instagram accounts. Her public account, Leah K. Thomas, featuring a small handful of generic photos promoting messages like let trans kids play. Then a private account, Leah Themis. So she just likes memes? She just likes trans memes on her private account? Is that what this is? AGP is a male's propensity to be sexually aroused by the thought of himself as a female. These are just memes. Why does everybody make a big deal about fucking memes? Oh my God. You get any amount of notoriety as a trans person, and then suddenly, every single meme that you like, every single meme that you share, that's open season for you. That's open season. As much as I don't want to say this, as much as I don't want to defend her, this happened to fucking Tori too. She gained notoriety as a trans person, and then suddenly people started going through her likes and sharing private Discord messages that she shared where all she was doing was sharing memes, okay? It's just a fucking meme. Chill the fuck out, okay? It's not that complicated. This is just promoting trans people loving each other. It's just a meme. Oh wow, how dare she like a meme of somebody supporting her. Okay. Unlike the private account, the account of Leah's alleged romantic partner, Gwen, is open to the public. Okay. I mean, these are just... Okay, just because you cringe at something, because you think someone is ugly, does not mean that they are a predator, okay? Besides posting in front of bondage gear and in bikinis with a genital bulge, oh, how dare you? How dare you as a trans person have a bulge? My God. Polyamorous sex pod? Yeah, that is a great way to describe polyamorous relationships. A sex pod. You know, maybe for some people that's true, but it's certainly not true for me. In my experience with polyamory, it is the furthest thing from a sex pod. If she's not a predator, why does she have a sword? That's a weapon. Oh my God. I mean, this person shows that they clearly don't understand anything about trans people, anything about community. They don't know anything about polyamory. There are a lot of cis people and even non-binary people that participate in polyamory. Gwen posted a series of herself and Leah with the caption, "Cherry, cherry, scissors." Oh no, the world's coming to an end because somebody posted a picture that says cherry, cherry, scissors emojis. Supportive person commented, "Ballless beauties." How dare someone celebrate? Isn't this what you want from Leah? Isn't that what people like this want from people like Leah? Is for them to undergo the surgical procedures necessary to complete transition? So why are you against it? Why are you saying this is disgusting AGP behavior when this is what you want from them? It's just so contradictory. Oh God, I want to do this. I'm sorry. I want to do this so bad. I want to keep them. What's in the jar? The NCAA's integrity? Oh my God. Are you serious? Exposes Leah Thomas for her Instagram meme likes. Oh my God. Okay. This is a bullshit thread. There's nothing here. I'm gonna collect all these links and put them into the description of the YouTube video when it's uploaded, so that all of the things that I've pulled up on the screen are easily referenced, so that you know I'm not lying to you about the contents of any of this information. All right, let's get back to the video.
In the work to make that, but I'm going to link it below because there's also information about Leah Thomas's girlfriend and some of the really weirdo shit going on with them. But I'm not going to focus on all of that. I just want to focus on what's going on with Leah. I'll show just two examples. I'm going to look at one image here that is a photo of a young girl with a bulge and an erection in her dress. And literally on the image, it says AGP trans. Are you kidding me?
Wait, isn't that what you're saying? Is that AGPs are fetishists? Wouldn't Leah Thomas liking this mean that she's supporting your arguments? Like, meanwhile, in 1987, glam metal band Warrant releases hit single Cherry Pie with lyrics based entirely on cunnilingus innuendos. I know all about that.
Are you serious right now? You're joking. Like, you're absolutely disrespecting my face and disrespecting women in the process.
Is it... do you feel offended by this meme because you feel like you were an AGP? You were one of these predators? I really wouldn't put it past her. Red Pebble,
Obama.
Thanks for the follow. Obama.
Process. There's no way this is serious. And notice where the activists at. Where's the trans community at? Mute and silent and zipped.
No, they're all on 4chan sharing memes like this with each other. That's where the trans community is. Because that's where the sense of community is. Because we are a minority. And it's hard to find other people in your area, especially when you live in a rural area in states like Kentucky or Tennessee or North Carolina or North Dakota. It's hard to find other trans people there because that's not where we go. We go to progressive states like Colorado and California and Nevada and stuff like that.
They're zipped. Everybody's like, no, but whatever, trans women are women. What about this? Because if you acknowledge that you're an autogynephile, you're acknowledging you're a man. So what now?
Did she transition to be black suddenly? Is that what happened? What is this voice? Why is it that all these gay people have this like inflection that's just like the most ratchet thing you've ever heard? Everyone's like Porky Pig having a stroke.
So what now? And don't give me that, oh, it's a sexual orientation. No, because their orientation is heterosexual. So who are you trying to fool? Not me. I'm not that stupid. There's a lot of people that are that stupid, but I'm not. The next one. Leah Thomas likes another image.
Oh no, Leah Thomas liked another meme. Oh, how horrible. This shows that she's a predator because she likes memes.
Talking about sexuality with my HSTS friends. So basically that would be like me, a homosexual, transsexual, or...
she's calling herself a homosexual, transsexual. See, I knew it. I knew she played into Blanchard's typology.
A trans woman attracted to men, versus talking about sexuality with my AGP friends. So one...
She's a predator because she likes Play-Doh. That's the real crime.
One is having like a I guess philosophical, like in-depth conversation, like a deeper, beyond surface level conversation, and the other one is just sex and fucking. This man is a proud AGP. This is a proud fucking AGP. Liking images that even reference homosexual, transsexuals, and AGPs. Leah, you did your homework.
That's the face I'm making right now listening to this. God. How dare Leah Thomas like a meme? It's so silly. I said this earlier, but like when you're a trans person that gains any amount of notoriety, like everything you do will be scrutinized to the end of the world and back. And there's nothing you can do about it. People are always going to call you a predator just simply because of the fact that you're trans.
Leah, you did your damn homework. I'll give you that, girl. Boy. Ooh. Because you know the words, honey. This man knows the words, knows the terms of the theory. And yet you are sitting up there raking in all the trans love that you're getting from the liberals. You make me sick. You make me absolutely sick. How dare you? How dare you stand up there in the media and take Riley Gaines' rightfully earned award away from...
I might be mistaken. She's 10 years into transition, but she still pronounces it like HSTS instead of saying Hus-Tuss like one of the cool kids. I might be mistaken, but didn't Riley Gaines come out in support of Leah Thomas, recognizing that some of the words that she said because she was upset that she came in second place might have like been too harsh? Isn't Riley like, aren't they friends? Gaines is still on the grift. Oh, that's why. She's from UK. Okay, never mind. That makes sense.
From her.
Oh,
disrespect her in front of the entire world, and say that you're doing this for trans women. You're doing this for women. Baby, you're not even a woman, not even a trans woman. So let's get that out of the way.
Okay, just hating on people because they're ugly is not... That's not fair, okay? It's fair for you to be upset because you find them cringy or whatever. But that does not make them any less, especially if she's been on hormones for 30 plus months now at this point. Like, whether you like her or not, she is trans.
It gets worse. It absolutely gets worse because look what we have here. Leah Thomas exposed male genitalia in women's locker room at a swim meet.
Wow, Leah Thomas had to change in the women's locker room. How awful. How horrible. Leah Thomas changed clothes in a locker room. Incredible. That's the worst kind of thing that you could do. How dare you change clothes in a locker room?
Let me make something so clear to the people that don't know. To the people that are new to the trans world, let me tell you something. Trans women that are genuinely trans women, I would much rather get hit by an Amtrak train than ever expose my old penis to anybody.
Yeah, I would rather that too. When I was in high school and I was in gym class, I refused to go to the locker room. I spent most of my time on the fucking bleachers because I didn't want to get sweaty. I didn't want to have to change clothes. I didn't want to have to go to the locker room. My entire time through school, I never once changed in front of other people because I was uncomfortable with my own body and I didn't recognize it at the time for what it was because the education about trans people just simply wasn't there in my time. And I'm old. I'm so old. I'm like the trans equivalent of a fucking dinosaur at this point. But like for a swimmer like Thomas, she has to. She has to. She's following the rules set out by WPATH. She's following the standards. Is she assaulting anyone? Have any victims come forward of Leah Thomas? No, I don't think so.
I never did. I will tell you that if there was any day, I never used a women's locker room when I was in high school because I did gym online because that's what the real trans girls did.
You did gym online. What is it even? Reznov says, now that I think about it, I was really prudish about changing in front of anyone who wasn't an intimate partner pre-transition too. I had been that way since I was 7 or 8. Wow. Yeah. It's amazing how universal the experience is when you get down and you actually talk to other trans people. Digital jumping jacks, Miranda? I don't know about that. I don't know if you can do digital jumping jacks and they still count the same way. I did gym online. I dropped into the battle pass.
Okay, we got the gym credit online because do you think I'm about to go into the women's locker room? No, absolutely not.
How do you get a gym credit online? How do you take online courses for a gym credit? How do you do that? Do you record yourself exercising? No. This is so stupid.
I was not even far enough into a transition. I did not pass, and I also still had penis. Even I knew to go out of my way to go take PE online.
Wow, imagine that. There was a point in your transition where you didn't immediately have every surgery done. There was a point in her life where she was trans and on hormones and she hadn't had her surgery yet. So why is she criticizing Leah Thomas for not having surgery yet? When there was a point in her life where she was also doing the same thing. Exposing your dong in female spaces as a trans woman does feel kind of weird, though. I mean, yeah, I'm sure Leah felt the same way. I'm sure she felt weird about it. But you have to understand that that's a really, really hard needle to thread as a trans person, right? How do I affirm my own gender and follow the law and do the things that the WPATH says that I need to do and also not offend anyone while doing it? When you know that there are always going to be bigots around, there are always going to be people that hate you just for the fact that you're trans. How do you thread that needle? It's impossible. You can't stop from offending everyone, right? There's always going to be somebody that's upset at you just because you're a trans person. It would be a completely different story if there were like victims of Leah Thomas that were coming forward saying, oh yeah, Leah Thomas sexually harassed me or sexually assaulted me in the women's locker room. That would be a different story, but that's not what this is.
Because I was like, there's no way I will subject myself to that humiliation or other girls to something so outrageous. Yeah, you have these fetish autogynephiles that walk in there loud and proud, dick and balls out.
I don't think that's exactly what happened. I think there would be people coming forward saying they felt uncomfortable by it. If she was going around just like smacking her dick against both of her legs, if she walked through the door of the women's locker room and just like immediately stripped all her clothing off and started like air humping in front of other women, yeah, that would be weird. That would be uncomfortable. I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't want that for myself. I wouldn't want that for other people. But it doesn't seem like that's what's happening here.
Dick and balls out in front of girls in a space where they should feel protected from that.
And you don't even know if Leah Thomas has any surgery scheduled. You don't know. You have no idea. Like the wait list for a lot of this stuff is super, super long. I had my orchiectomy consultation scheduled like 8-10 months in advance, and I'm just getting to it tomorrow. Sometimes you have to wait. Sometimes there's not anything you can do about it.
Disgusting, because ask any actual trans woman, they would rather sit on 15 razor blades than ever expose their genitalia in a setting like that. Maybe in private with a sexual partner, that's different.
I mean, you can't say the same for all cis women, right? There are cis women that are bold about sharing their, showing their genitals in places. So why is it an exception? Why is it just predatory when it's trans women, but not when it's cis women?
But in a locker room, in front of all these girls and women, there's nothing more terrifying. Even just thinking about me having to do that back when I still had a penis. Oh, that's like 25 9/11s in one. Look at what else that now we've allowed this trans activism to do. We've allowed these fetish people to march in streets loud and proud and demand everything handed to them. Look what we have here. Trans woman sexually assaulted a shelter resident at a woman's shelter.
Do we want to go into this? All right. Sexually assaulted shelter residents. Okay. Trans woman sexually assaulted shelter resident, say cops. Desiree Anderson, aka, well, you know what? I'm not going to say that. 32 is accused of sexual assault of a fellow resident of a Windsor women's shelter. Someone somewhere thought it was a smashing idea to house Desiree Anderson in a Windsor women's shelter. Of course, there was no consideration for the wishes, feelings, or fears of other residents. That would be regressive and wildly off message. So is this literally just like, this is an opinion piece? There's no... It's the sun, a Murdoch rag. Is that what this is? So these people were like, if this is true, this person was convicted of battery, like before transition, right? So, I mean, like, yeah, there's always going to be people like that. You can't like There's always going to be people like that. And it's not just because they're a trans person. But people like this are going to be few and far between. I don't know. I'm not including that one.
At a woman's shelter.
It is kind of disgusting that she's using the Toronto Sun. If it truly is just a Murdoch rag. Like, it's disgusting that she's using, like, hit pieces against other trans women just to prove a point.
This disgusting man, because of queer theory, because of the LGBTQ community.
Really? I don't think it's because of the LGBTQ community. I think it's because if someone assaulted someone, it's because they're a predator. I think that's what it is. I think it's because of that. And it doesn't matter if they're trans or not. That's what we read in that last article that she posted that she thought supported her point, but doesn't because she didn't read it.
The left, progressives, has allowed autogynephiles to walk right in hand in hand and said, give me all your shit. Give me all your trans shit. Everything that you guys have been suffering and everything you guys have been going through, just trying to get basic decency and respect. Yeah, hand it over. Hand it over. We want to do what we want. Give me your medications. Give me your surgeries. Because now that I'm looking like this, oh, now I got to go take it out even further.
Thanks for the follow, Food Chops. Appreciate the support. Good to see you here.
I got to go do more. It's not enough. I told you guys, this is a paraphilia. It's never enough for these people. And look what we have here. Disgusting man with a ratty ass wig on assaults a woman in a woman's shelter. How vile do you have to be? How vile do you have to be? There is nothing, there are few things, I don't even think there's anything more vile than a crime against a woman like this. This is disgusting. And for these people to even report trans women, that shows you that we have a fucking problem with what people think a trans person is. Because we have warped it and it is destroying us.
She hasn't made really any points about AGP. She's just talking about people she doesn't like, aka Leah Thomas, and she's talking about actual predators. That's it.
It's destroying our credibility and our reputation. I feel disgusted looking at this. Because now the world thinks that this and him, me and him, that we're twins, we're sisters.
I have a newsflash for you, honey. They thought that before this happened. They thought that before April 19th, 2023. I'll tell you that much. I can guarantee you that. I mean, look at the presentation of characters like Buffalo Bill in Silence of the Lambs. Right? Like, that was one of the first mainstream exposures to trans people that cis people got. And it kind of set the tone for a lot of their attitudes behind this. People hated trans people before this happened. I can guarantee you that. Just so we're clear, this rage is coming from the mouth of a woman who, in her self-identification as a huss, insists that she is not a woman. Yeah, no kidding.
And another one. Transgender woman convicted of sexually assaulting a 10-year-old girl in a bathroom. How sick do you have to be? Like, I think I'm just going to repeat myself again. Disgusting and vile, man.
You know, I've watched enough true crime to tell you that this is true. That people who commit crimes are going to do that regardless of what the law says. And they're going to use every excuse imaginable to try to get out of it. It does not surprise me that some of these criminals are saying that they are trans. To try to get out of it. To try to have some non-discrimination bill or something.
Man, a disgusting man. That's the first thing you should learn if you're going to be a trans woman, is how to respect women. How to have basic respect and decency for women. You're trying to transition into one. What the fuck? You don't even think about trying to respect women in that process? Idiots. Because they're not trans. They're nasty people with a nasty fetish that we're allowing to be fed. And now a 10-year-old child have to be a soulless, worthless, vile piece of garbage to harm a 10-year-old child like this. And everyone on the activist side, on the left, is silent and will not call it what it is.
I disagree with that. I've had enough. I've had enough experience with left spaces to know that they go really, really hard against people that they perceive to be pedophiles. People on the left do not let this shit go easy. So whatever her experience is, whatever her opinion is about this, is wholly misinformed. She clearly hasn't spent any time in left spaces.
This is an autogynephile that we have allowed to do this. Our queer theory, leftist progressive religion, we cannot call this out because then it breaks down our religion. So we will allow crimes like this. We will allow women and children to get hurt because woke is right, because woke before all. Sick. And another one. This one is like, we all know about this. Female prisoner sexually assaulted, not even going to say the word, by a trans inmate. Look at this. Now, since everybody can be trans, you gotta say these people are literally getting booked in the county jail. And
she was complaining about the WPATH standards earlier, saying that everybody can be trans, but that's not what the WPATH standards say. So I don't know where she's getting this.
5 minutes after they get their mugshot taken, are like, wait, I'm a girl. My bad, y'all.
I don't think that's true. In fact, even though I've been on hormones for about 2 years at the time, my experience going into a mental health facility as a trans woman was meeting with the nurse that was doing my intake paperwork, telling her that I was a trans woman. She asked me if I had had, quote unquote, the surgery yet. And when I told her no, she put me in the men's ward. That was my experience with places like this. So, yeah. And I live in Colorado. It's not exactly the most conservative state in the world. It's actually really progressive, and that was still my experience. So, okay, whatever you think, honey.
Okay, ship him to the women's prison. And this is a grown man. It don't even matter. These be grown ass.
That doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. There are no cases of people saying, oh, I'm a trans woman 5 minutes after getting their fingerprints done and then being shipped to a women's prison instead. That it just doesn't happen. That it's not true.
Men. These be grown men. Not a drop of estrogen in that body. Beards, 5 o'clock shadow. Big ass dudes. Gotta say it. They just gotta say one thing. Just gotta say, I feel trans today, y'all. Okay, women's prison, sweetie. And some of these people are literally going in there for sex crimes, are going in there for assaulting and hurting other women.
This is just parroting talking points. That's all this is.
Are you dumb? I don't even care if you're a genuine trans woman. If you commit a crime like that against a woman, man, prison, you're going back to your male self. You're going back to your biological sex. I don't care. I don't care. That's the first thing y'all should know. If you're going to be a trans woman, respect women. I thought that was pretty clear. I thought that was obvious. Guess not.
Doesn't seem like you're very keen on respecting trans women as a woman, so maybe you should take your own advice here, honey.
Wanted to highlight these things. They're not actual occurrences, but these are things I've seen online, and they paint a clear picture of the problem we're facing. I'm going to read this. This is a Tumblr post from...
Oh yeah, Tumblr post. Brilliant. Are you serious? Should be legal for trans people. I want to hold down a cis girl's throat and while a trans girl groans and shoots her deep inside its warm. Trans people are fined $10 every week they go without a sissy, and to put it in its place, so they all gang up on one poor little cis woman to take out all their frustrations on. Cis people live in terror. Every cis person is not a she or he, but an it. Red Pebble, thanks for the sub. The constant leaving every traumatized sissy with a distant, vacant look in their eyes. When a sissy clocks a trans person, it gets on its knees and begins to suck, hoping that this will please them and they won't resort to violently. Okay, if you're citing Tumblr posts to support your argument, if you're citing tweets from 5 follower accounts to support your argument, you've lost. You've already lost. Okay? If you're that desperate for something, just give up. Just give up. Oh, sorry.
An autogyne.
Sorry, I didn't even see this. Food Shops, thanks for the gifted sub. Really appreciate that. Notice the notes are cropped away. Yeah, no fucking kidding.
File, very obviously. And of course the username, Angel Left Wing. Thank you for making the politics known. We already knew. Baby, you didn't have to say a word. The leftists don't gotta say a word. We can tell. Blank should be legal for trans people. I want to hold down a cis girl's throat and fuck it while a trans girl groans and shoots her cum deep inside its warm. Trans people are fined $10 every week they go without blank a sissy to put in its place, so they all gang up on one poor little cis woman to take out all their frustrations on. Cis people live in terror. Every cis person is not a she or a he, but an it. The constant blank leaving every traumatized sissy with a distant, vacant look in their eyes. When a sissy clocks a trans person, it gets on its knees and begins to suck, hoping that this will please them and they won't resort to violently blanking it for fun. I had to read that out loud.
No, you didn't.
Because I wanted to make sure we all heard it, make sure we all read it, so that we all know what this is. It's vile, disgusting, gross. To even type shit like this, jail, prison. No, not even prison. Don't waste taxpayer dollars. Don't waste taxpayer dollars. No, death row, 24-hour death row, FedEx, first class, ship it out next day. Death row, lethal injection, administered by me.
My God.
And I'm a whole trans one.
For making a Tumblr post, you want somebody to be on death row? For real? Death penalty for Tumblr posts. If you have a Tumblr account, that's it. Going straight to jail.
And I'll do it myself. Line them up. Line them up. They're y'all getting the injection today. I'll mix it with a little bit of the COVID vaccine too, so it really kicks.
Actually, I need to get my injection today. I forgot to do that earlier.
In, okay? I mean to turn this into a joke. This is disgusting, and I just wanted to show you the conversations taking place online. Another one. There's also an AGP Reddit.
Bye, Reznov. Have a good night. Good luck on your school project.
And look at this. Is anyone on hormone replacement therapy but still lives primarily as a man? They've been on hormones for a year. They don't identify as a trans woman or anything fancy.
Wow, look at that. My libido was annoying as hell and was causing me a lot of distress. I found the hormones helpful in lowering my sex drive just enough to not bother me. Wow. Wow. It's almost like you take hormone replacement therapy and your sex drive goes down. Whoa.
I tell people I'm gender fluid or a cross-dresser, but honestly, it's mainly to just move along and not make a big deal about things. At the end of the day, I know I'm AGP. I love being on hormones and what it's done to feminize my body. Look at this. Because of the everybody can be trans agenda and motto.
How dare somebody celebrate their own happiness in their skin now? Isn't one of the universal experiences for trans people that they're uncomfortable in their own skin? Isn't that pretty much the case across the board? This person could be an HSTS like she wants them to be. And she's going on, blah, 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 all this stuff.
Everybody can get hormones. And are we really going to sit here and act like this person, once they are on these hormones long enough and they look at their body, that's not going to satisfy them anymore? This is a pervasive, persistent fetish. They are going to do something else. It is guaranteed. Another post. My AGP isn't AGP anymore. It's a bigger problem. While growing up, I had an emasculation trauma. Later, when I was under such trauma at 16, I cross-dressed and masturbated. Later, I felt disgusted of myself. In some time, I imagined myself as not woman, but what a woman will be if she gets harassed or seduced. I got arousal by anime girls getting touched and seduced. There was a little element of AGP, but my trauma acted as a sexual trigger. And it goes on, and it's absolutely the fetishization of women. Of women. That's what you're looking at. He imagines kissing a girl's body in his own male body. And people are trying to sit up here and compare and say that we're all trans, so me and this are the same.
I mean, you will share similarities with them, yes. You will take hormones. You will dress up in clothes that are opposite to your biological sex. I mean, yes, you will share similarities with people that you don't like. Welcome to the real world.
Let's stop being stupid. Because I know America is not this stupid. I know the world's not this stupid. That's why everybody don't like trans people. It's because the leftists, the trans cult, and their queer religion, they cannot say no to this shit. They can't say no. Because then it breaks down their religion. And look at this. We have a very clear indication of what this is and what this implies. And this person's going to take hormones, and it's going to enable it, and it's not going to be enough. And then there's one more. This one's actually sad. This shit is ruining my life. I can't fucking function anymore. All the things I was once passionate about, all the things I dreamed about, and my love for others, everything has just been lost in this long, long battle. I can just feel that I'm losing myself. I don't feel like myself anymore. I don't even feel like a fucking human anymore. I just feel like a sex-driven, horny freak who can't hold a relationship for more than 6 months because AGP just has to peek its head. Everything I've just said, this entire video, yeah.
You know, I wonder how much of this is just people who are lost in an online community and get sucked down the rabbit hole. And then start to hate themselves. I feel like for a lot of these people, the solution is just get offline, go live in the real world.
But don't tell an activist that. Why don't they bring this up? These are the people that have access to hormones now. These are the people that have access to services now. What do you think is going to happen? His AGP is literally eating away at his skin inside like a cage. Like a caged animal. The second that we permit this, what do you think is going to happen? All the vile crimes I just talked about before. To wrap this up, I'm absolutely disgusted by autogynephilia. I think that we're all being way too soft on autogynephiles, and I'm not.
This video was entirely just 30 minutes of Briana Ivy finding the most niche online community posts and getting herself upset about it. Getting herself upset about people who themselves are upset about niche online community posts.
Not anymore. These people have made it abundantly clear, and I don't know how many times they have to make it clear, that this fetish consumes them. It consumes their life. And the queer theory religion has now allowed it to hold the title of an oppressed group. So now every activist in this entire community is allowing them to live it out. Because they're going in line with the politics, so they can't say anything. And look at what has happened. How many women have to be hurt? How many women have to be assaulted? How many trans women have to be disrespected for all of us to wake up and call this what it is? It is disgusting, and it is in line with another fetish that we all demonize, one that's against children. I'll say it. They're quite close. They are quite close.
But you didn't say it. I thought you said you were going to say it, and you didn't say it. Why are you so hesitant to say it, Briana Ivy? Why are you so hesitant to say it, huh?
And I'm done. I'm done being nice to these people. I'm done being nice to these people because they clearly have no respect for me as a trans woman. They clearly have no respect for women. So why are we being nice?
I don't think you were ever nice to other trans women.
I'm not being nice anymore.
You never were.
I'm calling it what it is. This is disgusting and it should not be permitted and we should not feed into it. That's all I have to say on that. I am sorry that this got so intense. I truly, this was out of character for me, but it's really important. It's very important to me. This is disgusting. And so thank you all for taking the time to watch this. I will try and do something more lighthearted in the future. But this was really important to me. So thank you guys.
Wow. I learned nothing. I learned nothing about this. I mean, I don't even fall in the category that she would think I would fall under,
These people have to.
She would think that I would fall under a trans activist kind of category. And that's not even, I've just adopted this live and let live attitude with so much of the discourse that I just don't care anymore. And I mean, she can't even support her own points. She brings up articles that refute her points. She got upset about the WPATH standards at the beginning, and the WPATH standards actually, they comply with what she would want. So I don't know where any of this is really coming from. Anyway, yeah, that was that. I really don't think I have anything else I wanted to talk about tonight. I just wanted to talk about this silly little video and react to it. It was fun. I had a lot of fun. I hope you had fun. I hope you enjoyed the stream. If you did and you want to see more, feel free to hit the follow button or the subscribe button or whatever button you want to hit. Thank you, Miranda. I'm glad you made your triumphant return. Thank you so much for your support. I wouldn't be here today without you. So I think for now, I'm going to head off. I have a few other things that I want to do. I need to finish my laundry and stuff like that. And I'll probably need to take my girlfriend some food for lunch. So thank you for joining me. I don't know what I'll stream next, but I will announce it on my Twitter. You can find me at ERNGRNTV. And yeah, so thanks for coming and I'll catch you all later. Have a good night.